Your body isn't out of shape. It's out of rhythm. And in Japan, staying fit forever was never built around an hour at the gym or a punishing workout plan you dread the moment you wake up. It's built around 10 small habits, most of them 5 minutes or less, woven so quietly into the day that most people barely notice they're exercising at all. No expensive equipment, no monthly membership, no app tracking every single calorie. Just a handful of small, repeated actions that add up over decades instead of disappearing after 2 motivated weeks in January. Today, I'll walk you through those 10 habits, the same ones that quietly explain why one of the world's oldest populations also happens to be one of its leanest, with some of the lowest obesity rates on the planet. Stay until number 10, because I'll give you a simple 5-minute daily stack at the end that combines the 3 most powerful habits on this list into one routine you can start tonight. Not next Monday, tonight. Fair warning, number 4 is something almost nobody in the West does anymore, and number 8 will probably surprise you because it has nothing to do with exercise at all. Let's get into it. We'll start with the morning, because how Japan moves in the first 10 minutes after waking sets the tone for the entire day. Number 1, Radio Taiso, a 3-minute stretching routine broadcast every single morning at 6:30 a.m. on Japanese national radio. Millions of people, from schoolchildren to office workers to retirees in parks, follow along with the exact same sequence of arm circles, waist twists, and gentle squats, a tradition that has run almost continuously since it was formally introduced in 1928. It started, oddly enough, as an idea imported from an American insurance company's morning exercise broadcasts, brought back to Japan, and eventually turned into a national ritual that outlasted the very culture it borrowed from. Here's why this matters more than it sounds like it should. It isn't about burning calories, 3 minutes barely moves the needle there. It's about signaling to your body, every single day, at the same time, that movement is simply part of being awake, not a separate event you have to schedule and dread. There's no equipment, no warm-up required before the warm-up, no mental negotiation about whether today is a workout day. It just happens, the same way brushing your teeth just happens. The shift here is small but real. Pick one 3-minute routine, any routine, and do it the moment you get out of bed, before coffee, before your phone, before your brain has time to talk you out of it. Compare that to the typical Western approach, deciding at 6 a.m. whether today is a gym day. A decision so heavy it often talks itself out of existing before you've even brushed your teeth. Radio Taiso removes the decision entirely. There's nothing to decide, you just do it, the same way you'd never negotiate with yourself about whether to wash your face. Number 2, Hara Hachi Bu, an old Okinawan principle that simply means eating until you are about 80% full. It takes roughly 20 minutes for your stomach to signal your brain that it's had enough, and most people blow straight past that point in the first 5 minutes of a meal, especially eating in front of a screen where you're barely registering the food at all. In Japan, this principle is reinforced physically. Food is served on multiple small plates and in small bowls, which makes it almost impossible to overserve yourself in the first place. The portion control happens before you even pick up your chopsticks, not through sheer willpower halfway through the meal. This isn't a diet, it's a pause. It's not about restriction, it's about timing, giving your own body's signals a fair chance to actually reach your brain before you've already gone back for seconds. The shift is simply this: halfway through your next meal, put your fork down for 30 seconds and ask your body an honest question, not your eyes, not the plate, your actual stomach. Most people are terrified this will leave them hungry an hour later. In practice, it rarely does, because 80% full is genuinely enough. We've just spent years training ourselves to ignore that signal in favor of finishing whatever's in front of us. Number 3, walking as transportation, not as exercise. Japanese adults average around 6,500 steps a day, not because they set a step goal on a fitness app, but because walking to the train station, walking to the store, and walking to work is simply how life happens when you don't default to a car for every single errand. Car ownership in Japan sits meaningfully lower than in car-dependent countries, not because people can't afford one, but because a fast, reliable public transportation system quietly makes walking the path of least resistance instead of the inconvenient option. This is the habit most people misunderstand the most. It's not about going for a dedicated walk, although that helps too. It's about refusing to drive 2 minutes to somewhere you could walk in 8. The steps aren't the workout, they're the byproduct of a life that hasn't engineered walking out of it entirely. The shift: pick one errand this week you'd normally drive to and walk it instead. Not because it burns fat fast, it doesn't, but because it rebuilds the default setting in your brain that your own 2 legs are a real form of transportation, not a last resort. Now that we've covered the morning and the basics of movement and food, let's get into the habits most people have never even heard of, the ones that quietly separate a fit forever body from a body that's fighting itself year after year, always starting over, always resetting on a Monday that never quite sticks. Number 4, and this is the one almost nobody in the West still does: sitting on the floor. Many traditional Japanese homes still use tatami mat flooring, and daily life, eating, relaxing, even working, happens low to the ground, which means getting up and down off the floor multiple times a day without thinking about it. Every single time you lower yourself down and push yourself back up without using your hands, you're doing a functional squat your body actually needs. Hip mobility, ankle flexibility, core engagement, all without ever calling it exercise or scheduling it into a workout plan. Western furniture culture has quietly removed this movement from daily life entirely. Chairs, couches, raised beds, we simply never get low anymore. And by the time most people reach their 60s, the simple act of sitting on the floor and standing back up unassisted has become genuinely difficult, not because of age itself, but because of decades of avoiding the motion completely. The shift: once a day, sit down on the floor for something, folding laundry, reading, watching something on your phone, and get back up without using your hands if you can. It'll feel harder than it should the first few times, and that's exactly the point. That difficulty is showing you a gap that's been quietly widening for years. Number 5, small plates and slow meals over large plates and fast ones. Traditional Japanese meals, known as washoku, are built around variety in small portions rather than one large mountain of food on an oversized plate. This isn't just about portion control, it's about pacing. A meal made of 6 small dishes simply takes longer to eat than one giant plate you can finish in 4 minutes. And that extra time is exactly what your body needs to register fullness before you've overeaten. There's also a variety effect most people never consider. 6 small dishes engage your senses far more than one large plate of the same 3 ingredients, which means satisfaction arrives sooner, with less total food, simply because the meal feels more complete. The shift: next time you're serving yourself, use the smallest plate in your kitchen, not the largest. You'll eat less without a single moment of willpower involved, and you'll barely notice you did it. Number 6, standing and moving in short bursts throughout the day instead of sitting for hours, and then trying to make up for it with one long workout. Many Japanese workplaces and homes are built around frequent, low-intensity movement: walking to a different room to make tea, standing to answer the phone, stepping outside briefly between tasks, rather than one uninterrupted block of sitting followed by a single intense exercise session squeezed in after work. Research on movement patterns consistently shows that frequent short bursts of activity throughout the day protect your body in ways that one long workout, followed by 10 motionless hours, simply can't replicate. Your metabolism responds to how often you move, not just how hard you move once. A person who stands and paces for 2 minutes every 90 minutes across a 10-hour day accumulates more total movement, and often better blood sugar and circulation outcomes, than someone who sits motionless for 9 hours and then runs hard for 45 minutes in the evening. Neither approach is about willpower, one just happens to be built into the structure of the day itself. The shift: set a quiet reminder every 90 minutes, stand up, walk to another room, and come back. That's genuinely the entire habit: no equipment, no plan, just a reason to stand up. We're now past the halfway point, and the next few habits move away from pure movement and into something a little more surprising: the mental and social side of staying fit, the part almost nobody talks about because it doesn't photograph well for a fitness ad. Number 7, Tai Chi or Aikido-style controlled breathing movement, even in small 5-minute doses. These traditional practices emphasize slow, deliberate motion paired with controlled breath, And unlike high-intensity training, they're gentle enough to be done daily without ever needing recovery time or a rest day built into the schedule. The real value here isn't the movement itself. It's the breath control paired with it, which lowers stress hormones that otherwise quietly work against your body's ability to recover and stay lean. Chronic stress and poor sleep undo far more physical progress than most people realize. No amount of dieting fixes a nervous system stuck in a constant low-level alert. The shift, 5 minutes of slow, deliberate stretching paired with deep, controlled breathing before bed. No music, no phone, just movement and breath. Number 8, and this is the one that will probably surprise you, because it has nothing to do with exercise at all, gardening or small-scale plant care. Gardening and small-scale farming remain genuinely popular activities across Japan, especially among the older population, and they deliver two benefits at once: physical movement through kneeling, reaching, and carrying, and a documented mental health boost from time spent in nature and connected to something growing. This is the habit that quietly explains why so many fit, active older adults in Japan don't look like they're exercising at all. They're just tending to something living, and the movement happens as a side effect of caring about the outcome, not as the goal itself. There's something psychologically different about movement tied to purpose versus movement tied to a calorie count. One tends to survive years, the other tends to survive weeks. The shift, keep even one plant that requires regular care, watering, repotting, pruning, and treat the 5 minutes it takes as non-negotiable, not optional. Number 9, Shinrin-Yoku, forest bathing, deliberately spending time in nature without a fitness goal attached to it at all. This isn't a hike with a destination or a run with a pace to hit. It's unstructured time outdoors, walking slowly, noticing your surroundings, with zero performance pressure attached to the experience. The physical activity itself is mild, but the habit matters because it breaks the all-or-nothing trap so many people fall into, believing that if time outside isn't real exercise, it doesn't count, and so they end up doing neither the walk nor the workout. The shift, once a week, spend 15 minutes outside with no goal, no step count, no destination, just movement without a scoreboard attached to it. You'll likely find you naturally end up walking farther than you planned anyway, simply because nothing is telling you when to stop. Number 10, and the last one, Ikigai, having a clear, personal reason to keep moving that has nothing to do with appearance. Loosely translated as your reason for being, Ikigai is often cited as one of the quiet threads connecting Japan's longest-living, most active populations. People who move daily not because a plan told them to, but because they have something they genuinely look forward to: a garden, a grandchild, a morning walk with a neighbor, a community exercise session in the park. Fitness built entirely on discipline eventually breaks down the moment motivation dips, and motivation always dips eventually. That's not a personal failure, it's just how humans work. Fitness built on a genuine reason tends to survive it, because the reason doesn't disappear on a bad week the way motivation does. The shift, before you build any new fitness habit, answer one honest question first: what's the actual reason you want to keep moving? And is it a reason strong enough to survive a bad week? Look back at these 10 for a second and notice what's missing from the list entirely. There's no mention of a gym membership, no mention of counting macros, no mention of a specific workout split or a strict weekly schedule you have to defend to yourself every Sunday night. That's not an accident, and it's not because Japan has some secret advanced fitness science the rest of the world hasn't discovered yet. It's because the entire approach starts from a different question. Western fitness culture tends to ask, what's the most efficient workout I can do in the least amount of time? This approach asks something quieter: how do I make sure movement never fully leaves my day in the first place? One approach treats fitness as an event you attend. The other treats it as a condition you live in. And when motivation inevitably dips, and it always does, only one of those two approaches keeps running on its own. So that's all 10. Now, exactly as promised, here's the 5-minute daily stack that combines the 3 most powerful habits on this entire list into one simple routine you can genuinely do every single day without it ever feeling like a chore. Minute 1 to 3, your Radio Taiso stretch. Any simple sequence of arm circles, waist twists, and light squats, done the moment you wake up, before your phone, before coffee, before your brain has a chance to talk you into skipping it. Minute 4, the floor sit. Lower yourself to the ground for something, anything, folding a shirt, tying your shoes, checking your phone, and stand back up without using your hands if you can. Minute 5, 30 seconds of the Hara Hachi Bu pause built into your very next meal, fork down, stomach check, before you decide whether you're actually still hungry or just still eating out of habit. That's the entire stack, 5 minutes, 0 equipment, and it borrows from 3 completely different parts of the day: morning movement, functional strength, and mindful eating, without ever asking you to find an extra hour you don't have. Do it for 7 days straight before you judge whether it's working. 1 day proves nothing. A week starts to build the rhythm. This whole video has